This is a 2019 Scarab 215 with twin 200 horsepower engines. I do have the thrust vectors, and it has an underwater light. On the thrust vectors, I have an issue with when they're going, it runs up here, and as you can see, it's starting to damage a little bit because it rubs off. So, and on this one, it's completely gone at like 50 hours. So definitely don't know if that's normal wear and tear or not, but I would not recommend them. And when you're going fast and you slow down, it ends up messing up the steering as well. I have 60 hours on the boat. As you can see here, it is very difficult to not mess that up. Right here, I have the full pads that make this out to like a little lounge area. It's really, really narrow. So unless you're a child, I really don't see, or a short person that's probably under 5 foot tall, it would work good for that. Back on the front, there's storage in here under this seat, and it is basically worth nothing. Like, there is no space to put anything besides maybe 2 ropes. It makes no sense to me. And then these are so hard to lift up because of the because of these black things. You really have to be careful because you can end up damaging the fiberglass. This lifts up, and pretty big storage for sure. This one does not lift up. This chair lifts up. And then we have storage in here. This is where we keep our shoes when we're on the boat. And then you have a little bitty cooler in there, and it holds, you know, a 6-pack of water or whatever you choose to put in it. Going to the back to the drive station, it's very comfortable, but without this, it is really low to the ground. And I'm 6'5", and I have an issue being able to see over this. I'm sitting like right in the windshield, which is nice if it's windy or something, but it's kind of low when the bow goes up. Same thing there. So typically they stay like this. This stuff is like a leather, I don't know exactly, and every time it gets wet, it looks like it's stained white, like water spots, and it literally, it goes back, but I don't really know why it does that, but really cheaply made. And then these, as you can see, the screw, like, really cheap for such an expensive boat. It's really cheaply made. This part is what I'm talking about, not the boat itself. Had the sea decking put in. This stuff, the previous owner. And here's a storage. That's a little aftermarket where the light goes. And then there's some storage in here. And then the radio. The radio is actually pretty good. Here's another one of these like leather stuff that just doesn't do good with water, which makes no sense if it's on a boat. These little spots here are great for your phone to sit. That's what I use on the driver's side. That's the tarp for it. Then we have the main storage compartment where these are all the seats and everything that goes to make that front up there a like bow cushion, like the whole thing. Then you have the back. There's the bimini that goes on the wakeboard tower, and then you got the tower speakers. So, and then this cushion lifts up, and these, I don't know what year they did it, but these only go back and forth. These don't lay down flat for you to sunbathe on the back. So that's kind of sucky. In here, you can see the previous owners, he had some kids, or they did, and at least this is what they said. And when you slam these, it can really mess up the fiberglass, and because like, so you gotta like hit it and then it's down, but definitely need to fix that somehow. That seat does the same thing. Here's a little table that goes up right here, and then you have the little swim platform, and it is great. The only complaint that I would say is that these things do not drain. As you can see, there's water in here. This goes straight into here. I have no idea why it doesn't drain properly. Not one explanation, and everyone seems to have that issue. Sea decking, this is a reason why I don't really suggest it, but the previous owner did it, and it looks great. It's way better than carpet, but it just tears and rips and it stains. As you can see, there's a stain. It's definitely not the best. And you have a ladder there. One other thing is that I want to show you is the anchor on this boat, where you hold it. It does not hold a very large anchor, and you really want a big anchor. This, I put the biggest one that I could get in this spot, and you have to really finagle. You have to like move the anchor, and then you've got, see, then you can move that, and then this anchor, I think it's only like 8 pounds or 9 pounds. So it's really not a big anchor, but for this boat, it just does not supply enough space to have a bigger anchor, which makes no sense. I know it doesn't weigh much, but it just doesn't make sense to me why it doesn't have a bigger spot for an anchor. Another complaint that I have, this, you pull this and then this whole tongue moves over, and the little metal thing came off, and it is an absolute pain in the butt to try to get it off. I have to hammer it in order to remotely have it to where I can get it off and move it. So that is about all that I can tell you about this thing. I've only put about 5 hours on it since I've owned it, and due to certain situations, I'm selling it, and it's actually under contract now. So just my 2 cents on it. Definitely a really cool, fun boat, but it's just a big glorified Sea-Doo in my opinion. That doesn't mean that it's bad or good. It just wasn't for me, but it sure does look good.